Did you know over 60% of first-time clients do not return for a second visit? That is so painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. This means that Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to joinmaya.com to set up your own personal virtual tour and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We promise you will love Maya.
Thank you for joining me. This is Kati Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. Today we're talking about what to look for when hiring stylists. I have industry expert Danielle Anderson here who did all the hiring for many years with me. This is such a treat today. Let me just tell you a bit about Danielle. She has served and worked since the age of 15, always appreciating helping others, being a free thinker, being a strategic thinker, and joined the beauty industry in 2018. She started off getting her nail technician license, but very quickly just had a lot of operational strengths. She joined Be Inspired Salon in 2010 in Madison, Wisconsin. It moved from being a bridal coordinator to salon manager, and eventually became district manager for 2 separate brands, overseeing 3 locations and over 20 team members. When she moved to Philly, we scooped her up at Maya because she's so smart and so talented. And you know, when you meet somebody that their best resource is being resourceful, this is Danielle. She is very smart about project management and creating just task flows and workflows. And I really love working with her. And to our surprise, she's this creative, outgoing public speaker who has a special knack for making everything look beautiful. So Danielle now oversees marketing for Maya, and she is often speaking at events. If there's anything beautiful that you see on our social media, it's because she's created that. She's just brilliant at graphic design and, like I said, very artistic and creative. So without further ado, help me welcome one of my favorite team members in the whole world, Danielle Anderson.
Thank you so much, Kati. Oh my gosh, I'm thrilled to be here. I've been listening to your podcast for years, so it feels really special to be on here with you. And that was such a kind introduction.
It's all true. And I want people to literally go click on the link in our show notes and watch today's episode so you can see her beautiful face. It's fun to see the faces behind the names. And I think just what I've always appreciated about you, when I first met Danielle, she showed up and showed out every time she came to work. She cares about appearance. It makes her feel good and it helps her show up to be the best version of herself. She's never been the most outgoing presence in the room. She actually tends to be pretty introverted, but she's always paying attention, observant, and is just a smart, strategic thinker. So I really respect you, and I'm glad that you're here today to talk about what to look for when hiring a stylist. Before we get into that, though, I want to ask you, why do you love being a part of the beauty industry? And in the last few years, what have you just appreciated most about the development of your professional career?
Wow. Where do I even start? I have loved the beauty industry since I was playing with remember those Barbies where you could do its hair because it had wires in its hair and you could paint the nails with different colors of water. I have loved the beauty industry forever. When my mom finally started letting me go from cost cutters to a real hair salon, I fell in love with my hairstylist and just the experience and just getting to feel really beautiful. I grew my hair out all the way down to my butt and I was just in it. I was fully in it, getting my hair balayaged every 6 months, this fancy salon. I was paying my own money working at Arby's to get this beautiful salon downtown, right by the Capitol. It was just my like treat to myself. I love to show up and look good and feel good. So that really started it for me. And that was actually the first salon that I worked in. I worked there as a receptionist. So moved on up from working retail and fast food to being a salon receptionist, and that it stuck. I never left. So since 2018, I was just in the beauty industry, just moving through. Really thought I was going to be a stylist of sorts at some point. Started with nail school and then just realized, like you said, the operational side of things, getting to know people and setting processes to really make their careers thrive and grow and scale a sustainable salon really became my passion at the end of the day, especially because I am so introverted. So I like to have those conversations with people that I'm really comfortable with. So in like a team environment, I'm with them day in, day out. We know each other really well. There's this unspoken communication, some might say, rather than having to get to know new people every single day. So that's kind of how I landed in my role.
Well, and you started at when we started working together, it was a pretty tumultuous season for the world and for the business. And you really stuck it out and were committed. And what had it been like to grow in that environment and then see just the changes? It was almost like we had an opportunity to do things all over, and how would we do it for the better? And you had a huge hand in that. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was probably the thing that I'm the most proud of now that I'm looking back at it. I think that's my biggest career win so far is taking such a troubling time. Like I started at your salon at Be Inspired as the bridal coordinator pretty much as soon as the world opened back up after COVID. And it was a really weird time in the world and in our industry as a whole. People were trying to figure out where their place was, and servicing others when we've been so isolated was really stressful, super, super stressful, being that like up close and personal with people. And I just remember that being a really big struggle, not only for our clients coming in, but for the team as well. So there was some turnover, and moving from bridal coordinator to general manager of our entire salon operations in 2 months was a huge shift, especially when my background was more so in like receptioning. So it was a really big deal managing a team and leading a team in such a uncertain time. But I think it really shaped me into the person I am today and allowed me to grow and just become the best leader. It's really like pressure makes diamonds, and that's exactly how I felt that situation transferred
Mm.
to me.
I love that. You and I would look at each other and I mean, literally, people were pissed off. People were quitting at our salon here, left and right. Like, we can just call it what it was. But also, clients were like not nice. It was like
No,
a whole, we would be like, what the? So it was like a
we
win
like,
when we got to the other side of it. It was literally like it took a full year almost to get to the
yeah.
other side of that anger that people had.
Yeah, and we like coined the rule of threes. I just remember you and I would get on the phone together and we're like, this is number two. There's going to be one more. We just know it. And just setting up our mindset to just be like, we got this. We know the rhythm. We know the flow. And we're just like rocking with it.
And because you're so great at the processes part of things, we weren't in a season of like being knocked down and staying down. Not only did we get back up, but we opened two more locations, one completely new brand. And you became the leader to oversee all three. This has really given you such street cred when you now speak to other owners on operational aspects of running salons. So I just want to point that out because there was a shift where you took over hiring and were responsible for finding people that fit the right culture. And I just want to get into that because I love how you say it's not even what we look for, it's what didn't matter. So
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about when you were hiring, and of course we're seven-figure business. it wasn't just about the resumes. You were paying attention to the things that weren't on the resume. Tell everybody a bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think taking it back a few steps, really where it started was solidifying our code of honor. Some might call it a code of conduct, whatever it is in your salon, your top values. You need to have a code of honor for your brand that represents not only how leadership feels the salon should run, but how your team members feel that the salon should run and the environment that they want to be in and the standards that we're setting. What are we okay with? What are we not okay with? And really, that's what I took into every single interview that I did was making sure that they aligned with our code of honor. Which did not focus on the technical side of things. I don't care if you're graded a balayage straight out of school. I don't care if you were the top foliage person in your school. I want to know, are you willing to support our team? And are you willing to be a team player? Are you willing to invest in yourself and your education? Not having that mindset that you are already the best. You're never going to get any better. Like, you need to make sure that you are willing to humble yourself and really learn and grow in our environment because we have all these processes in place and these great leaders of our education department that want to teach you so much more and like take you to the next level. So, summed up into one word, they needed to be a team player. They really needed to have that mindset that they were going to be on a commission salon team and that they were in it for everyone that was there. They were there to support the entire collective.
Now, do you feel like that's something you could identify in the interviewing process or a little bit of that, but most of it's seen right off the jump when they actually are in the salon? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I feel like you can definitely get into it asking like specific questions. But just knowing where their attitude is, if they're coming in and they're just down to ask questions, if they just want to get to know you and your brand and just be like inquisitive during the interview rather than, I know this, I know that, I know this, I know that. I think that was really important, but we also always followed up our like written interview where I was sitting down with them and chatting with them, we always followed that up with a like shadow, a look and learn experience. So I would pair them with stylists that I really trust, who would probably be one of their many educators or mentors at the salon. I would pair them up for a half day and get their feedback at the end of it. Because I want to make sure that they were not only going to mesh well with their educators, but mesh well in our salon. Were they going to be able to like understand why we do things? Were they going to be able to take care of the clients and give them that like luxurious experience that we expect? And were they going to have a really good attitude learning our like processes and procedures and the why behind what we do to bring value at each visit?
Or were they going to lean up against the wall and look at their phone?
Yes, yes.
Ah,
I know. You definitely need to have that in-person experience to know if they're going to be there, show up and show out.
mm-hmm. Have you ever hired somebody and it wasn't a good fit and you could see that pretty quickly? What did you notice and how did you handle that?
Yeah, absolutely. How would I handle that?
Let me
I,
just preface this for people listening. Danielle looks sweet and innocent and cute and she's petite, but she is not savage, but she's like standards. She
yeah,
does not appreciate it. People don't live up to the standards, especially being on time, showing up to work. This girl has unbelievable work ethic and does not have any patience for people that can't make it to work. So I just need to preface that you have high standards. So tell me, like, if you notice somebody's not living up to it, what did you do to confront that? Because you're not a confrontational person. So
no.
how did you go about confronting that?
Yeah, great question. Well, something I always looked at before having these tough conversations is we had this triple win in place. It has to be a win for the team, for the guest, and for the business. So every time that I was going to have any conversation, whether it be good, bad, or whatever, neutral, I would always look to see if it was a triple win for the business. So let's say someone is showing up late. That is not a triple win for the business. Let's say they're calling in all the time. Well, your guests are losing, the business is losing, the team is losing because they're having to make up all of this slack. The guests can't come in, get their reservation, and it's looking bad on the business that we're flaky. And I understand that things come up, but that's why we have our like code of honor in place, like what we will tolerate and won't tolerate, and just kind of the rules or guidelines of our salon. So the way that I would always go into these conversations is looking at that. That would tell me if I needed to have this tough talk. And if I did, making sure to start with asking clarifying questions is really important. It's never good to go into a coaching conversation pinning someone in a corner. So making sure that I was asking like clarifying questions. It sounds like, it looks like, it seems like, and have them explain what's going on and repeat back to them, parrot back to them what you're hearing them say so that you both are on the same page and they feel understood. Also affirming what we were just talking about. They are affirming the issues that we're going to talk about today. And then from there, it really opens up the floor for me to share my feedback and have that tough coaching conversation when we are both on the same page and looking at the situation from the same lens. So that was kind of how I took out the confrontation of having confrontational conversations.
Who was more likely to give people second chances, you or me?
Definitely you. Definitely you. Oh my gosh. No, you absolutely see the best in everyone, and I love it. And I think that's a really strong quality in a leader. But we were the perfect like yin and yang at the salon for sure.
Well, what you brought up a moment ago is emotional intelligence. And I would say that you have that in a significant way of just understanding your own self awareness, but also relationship management. And not everybody's taught that. And it's not a skill that is just like, oh, you either have it or you don't. It's actually a skill you need to develop. And so I love that you brought that up because not only did you work to hire stylists, but I'm going to add another layer, you brought on other leaders. How did you identify that this person had the kind of characteristics that we would look for in hiring another leader? Because you couldn't be the only leader of all three things. We had to have other location leaders in place, and then you oversaw them. What was that like for you, and how did you find the good ones?
Yeah, great question. Well, I would always ask questions during our interview that got to know them a little bit deeper. Like, I don't know if it so matters to me what you've done in the past. I more so want to know your emotional intelligence, who you are as a person, how you respond to criticism. What are your goals? What are you looking for? And just see if they align with our goals as a business and the way that we interact with each other. So some questions that I would always ask are, how would you define success in your career? I want to get to know, do you have like future plans? Are you really trying to excel yourself forward? Because if you are, wonderful. I want to hire you to be on my front desk team. I'm going to set this great career path for you to eventually be a leader in our salon because we're always looking to grow and lead our leaders. Like that is such an important part of the salon. I know we're always looking to grow our stylists, but I think sometimes we forget that our front of house needs a career path as well. And I feel like that's missing in a lot of salon like business models or like growth structure. The front of house is not going to be committed. They're constantly going to be recycling over. You're going to have a lot of part-time workers, which is tough to train. If you don't have a set path for them to keep excelling in your business. I think that that's super important. And that's something I looked for. What are your career goals? Because I want to keep you long term. I don't want to give you part-time hours. I want you to be full-time and I want you to grow into a leader here.
I love that. That is awesome. And a lot of salons have this almost divide where it's like we have the front desk people and then the salon on the floor people, and it takes work to say no, we're one team. This
Yep.
isn't a separate thing. How did you work to cultivate that cohesiveness between front of house and the stylist?
I think it's just establishing the respect for each other. And just making sure that everyone, it's like an open door policy. I mean, leadership has an open door policy. I want anyone to come in and talk to me, but also the other way around. I want my team member to be able to flashback. I actually worked at a salon once where you could not go up to a stylist mid-service. It was unacceptable. If you were the front of house, you could not go up to a stylist mid-service at all. You wrote it down on a sheet of paper and you talked about it after. But that's not really a way to create a cohesive salon. Like that is actually halting one conversation, putting it on hold, and having these totally two divides. Like front desk was doing something during the day, stylists were doing something during the day. And I just did not want that at the salon that I was running or helping to run. So I wanted to make sure that the door was always open to have these conversations. And if we needed to talk to a stylist, that was great. If they needed to talk to the front of desk, that was great. We just always made sure that we were on the same team with the same goal in mind.
As a leader that oversaw both sides of the fence, brought them together, culture keeper, how did you go about maybe taking people out of their comfort zones because you knew that it helped them grow? What were some things you did to kind of move that needle?
Yeah, I feel like that happened a lot with younger stylists coming in. They would get really comfortable. One example I have specifically is the timing of appointments. They come out of school and it's a 6 hour balayage. Oh my gosh, I forgot, where was I? I was at the Masters of Balayage event this past weekend, and one of the educators, I'm so sorry I'm blanking on their name, but was like, you can't hold people hostage. That is holding someone hostage, is having them in your chair for 6 hours for a balayage service. It's crazy.
A nightmare.
It's a nightmare, actually a nightmare, especially because the people that are coming there are probably busy people.
Hungry.
Yeah, like you can't even imagine. You're like, I'll sit for an hour, 40.
I literally bring a cooler. That's if I have 3 hours, I'm still bringing a cooler. Okay, go on.
Yeah, crazy. But one of the things that I would definitely have to push our younger stylists was to cut their time down. And this was so important on multiple levels because they weren't making money from that reservation. They're at the lowest level. They're making the lowest amount of commission, they're charging the least amount, and they're taking their entire day to do this service. It's bananas. So they weren't making the money that they wanted. The client wasn't happy. They didn't want to be there all day. They didn't have that much time to invest in this one reservation when they could go elsewhere and get it for half the time. Um, so many parts that just weren't working well with that. So slowly pushing their schedule up and making sure that they had the tools and resources they need to lean on their team. Most of our protege stylists weren't busy 24/7. Well, then enlist the help of someone else to help you finish blow dry so you can talk to your other client. Just getting them in this mindset of our entire salon is one machine. Like you need to rely on the other team members and just slowly start inching towards your goals by setting goals for yourself. Like you first have to set it. You can't just be at the baseline forever. You need to set your goals and you need to lean on your team to hit them. So that was one of the main things that I would try to instill in our new members is to get out of your comfort zone and ask your team for help.
That is so good. And it really speaks, like listening to you makes my heart filled because it just really showcases the kind of culture that we worked really hard to create and then keep.
Absolutely. We had master stylist blow drying proteges clients for them.
Mm,
It's really beautiful when you see stuff like that happen.
yeah, it is. I'm gonna kind of flip it on you now. Has there been a time professionally in the last few years you've been pulled out of your freaking comfort zone? Maybe even pushed back a little. What did that turn out? How did it turn out for you?
Well, you did mention at the beginning public speaker, and that is never something that I thought someone would tie to my name in my entire life. Like, um, growing up in middle school, my mom put me in, have you heard of forensics? Like the speaking, the little speaking like plays essentially, where you would have to memorize a script or like have a script and go up with your like team. And it was kind of like doing a play in front of people. And she put me in that because my teachers were always like, Danielle's really shy. Like she doesn't speak up. She doesn't talk to anyone unless she's spoken to. Like what can get her outside of her comfort zone? And it's always been a fear of mine. So this year, when I had the opportunity to speak at the L'Oreal partnership event, I was like, absolutely not. That will never be me, couldn't be me. But you pushed me and coached me, and I think practice makes perfect, right? Practice makes progress, whatever you say. So just putting myself out there and getting up in front of people and talking to them about things that I'm passionate about. Like it doesn't need to be this big scripted situation. It doesn't all need to be perfect. It doesn't need to align with what you would say or what my other team members would say. Just speaking my truth, really made me more comfortable in front of an audience.
And confident as
I'm
F
confident.
because you have changed so much in like the best way. Just evolved into the amazing woman and career professional that you were meant to be and continue to evolve. So I'm so proud of you for that. And I would just tell people like Danielle was actually kind of pissed off at me. Like she did not want to do that talk. And I
I
had to
was
send
rehearsing
her.
it. I was rehearsing it every single night in front of my boyfriend, just pacing around our bedroom, sweating, like changing out of my pajamas. It was so stressful, but I'm glad I did it.
And now tell everybody what happened just a few weeks ago where you texted me and you said, I, yes, tell us.
I know. I was giving a talk a couple weeks ago at a conference in front of like coaches, salon-centric coaches, L'Oreal coaches, Summit coaches, and their clients. And I was like, I could have kept talking. I wish I had the stage longer. It felt like they were playing the Oscars music and I had to go. Um, it really does just come with time and confidence, like you said.
Yeah, just from a leadership perspective for all the salon owners listening, sometimes you see in others what they don't yet see in themselves. And you got to sometimes move people up before they're actually ready. We do this sometimes with stylists, don't we? They have this aspect of their benchmarks that they're just knocking out of the park. Maybe not all of them, but we're going to move them up sooner. And what happens usually, Danielle? We see them just blossom. What has been your experience of helping people move into something before they may even be considered ready?
Yeah, I agree with you. They just blossom. I think it's such a big confidence boost when someone sees something in you that you might not see in yourself quite yet, or you're like, that's going to be down the road for me. I'm not there yet. And especially when it's someone that you look up to, like one of your salon leaders. If they come to you and they're like, I think you're ready for this. Let's take it to the next level. Are you ready? Do you want to do this? It's such a big confidence boost. And I think it almost always turns around and they hit that next bar. They keep going further, and it really just allows them to like break through that next ceiling.
Well, I love everything you've shared, and I know how passionate you are. I want everybody that's listening to know that Danielle created a very special version of Maya on social media. I have it in our show notes, and it's Maya_pros. That's our Instagram handle. Now, this is created by Danielle for your team to help them excel behind the chair. We want to be your support to growing your team and building them up. So tell us a bit about that social. Now it's brand new, so there's not a ton of followers. We want you to be some of them. We want you to get your stylist to follow that page. But tell me a bit about that page, Danielle, and just where your heart is at with the kind of content you're creating for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Maya_pros is the page. And it's really like my way to give back to the salon teams that we serve. I think it's something that I really missed moving to Maya, only speaking with leadership because I really love coaching younger stylists or just stylists in general and getting their feedback and helping them grow. So a lot of the content is like ways to elevate their salon experience, like what they're putting out there for their guests, and just ways to grow their own personal brand and their own business, which in turn helps your entire business. If they're confident and they have all of these skills that they need to just grow and take care of their clients in a really meaningful way. So it's really just me being a big sister to the industry. And I feel like that was kind of
Mhm.
my role a bit when I was at the salon. I think people would really come to me for like sound, rational advice. And that's really what I want to put out there for other people to have as well.
It is always doses of real truth, great advice. and even the podcast, because we've really entered into a season where Danielle is curating us guests who are behind the chair, who are stage artists, not just the business side, but these are people who have done things on the creative side and excelled their careers. So I love that you have all of those resources on that page.
Yep.
Okay, well, before we're done, what would be some final words of wisdom for owners and stylists listening when it comes to what to look for when you're hiring stylists?
I would say first start with yourself. Have a code of honor, have a code of conduct, and do not waver on it. It's never worth it. It is never worth keeping someone, even if they are your top producer. It will create a toxic environment in your salon. Don't waver on it when you're hiring or when you're keeping your staff. And I would say just make sure that you're looking for people who are coachable, they're consistent, and they have a client-focused mindset. And the way you're going to get that is probably more from that in-salon shadow experience and not just from talking to them as leadership, asking questions. Of course, you can ask really great, meaningful questions, but actually seeing them behind the chair interacting with your team is really what was like the icing on the cake for me when deciding if I was going to hire someone.
I think the world of you. You already know this. And I just appreciate you being here and sharing all of your wisdom with us. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you all for joining us here week after week. If you love this platform, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like yourself will discover Beyond the Technique. We are really here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.